Okay, we are.
Thank you, Larry. Good evening, everyone. Today is June 1st, 2021. The time is now 7:08. We are calling the Public Works Committee meeting of the Common Council to order. I will shortly take a roll call. I just wanted to wish everybody a happy Memorial Day. I hope they enjoyed themselves and had a beautiful weekend. This meeting is being taped, so let's see. I will now take roll. Tom Keegan.
Here.
Thank you. Tom Livingston.
Here.
Barbara Smith.
Here.
Manny Langella.
Here.
George Theodorides.
Here.
George Serenides. I'm here. And Darlene Young is not with us tonight. All right, we have a quorum. Moving forward, public input. Monique, do we have anybody, or Larry, do we have anybody for public input tonight?
We do not.
I do not either.
Has anyone received any emails, calls, or anything they want to add to the record, to the minutes? Neither have I. It's a late agenda today, so I don't think it's going to be anything that anybody would want to call in for. Moving on to new business. Approve the minutes of the special joint meeting of the Public Works Committee and Recreation, Parks, and Cultural Affairs Committee of Tuesday, May 4th, 2021. Would anyone like to move the item? Thank you, Mr. Livingston. Would anyone like to add anything? Any corrections? Anything to say? All in favor? Seems unanimous. Okay, fantastic. Passes.
George.
Number two.
George. I abstain. I wasn't there.
Oh, sorry, Tom.
That's okay.
I actually abstained too.
All right, so we have two abstentions, Monique. Mr. Keegan and Mr. Theodorides,
Got it.
and it still passes. Item number two, approve the minutes of the Public Works Committee meeting of Tuesday, May 4th, 2021. Would anyone like to move that? Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Any additions, corrections? None? All right, all in favor? Any abstentions?
I abstained.
All right. Let it be known, Mr. Keegan and Mr. Theodorides abstained, and the rest were in favor. Passes again. Item number three, technical correction on the Common Council action, May 11, 2021, item 7C2, to authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute any agreement with Woods Men's and Boys Clothing for project number 4087 for a sum not to exceed $17,680 for fiscal year 2021 to 22, $18,148 for fiscal year 2022, 23, and $18,447 for fiscal year 2023 and 24, with an option to extend for 2 additional terms of 1 year each. Account number noted. The correction is authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute an agreement with Woods Men's and Boys Clothing for project number 4087 for a sum not to exceed $17,680 for the periods from July 1st, 2021 to June 30, 2023. $18,148 for the periods from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2025, and $18,447 for the period from July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2027, account number noted. Who would like to move that item? Thank you, Mr. Keegan. So I know we have somebody that, Anthony, I know you want to speak on that. It just seems like all we did was change the terms and correct the dates, but the amounts haven't changed. Can you tell us a little bit?
Correct, Mr. Chairman. So Mr. Torrey is also on the line too, but just to give the brief 60-second overview, we are utilizing the same contract amounts It's the same operating budget account, and it's the same vendor. Basically, if you read what the changes are, the contract periods now are 2-year periods. So it's the initial first 2-year period that's authorized, and then there's 2 additional 2-year periods. So it's a total basically of 6 years versus the original approval was only for a period of 3 years. So again, that's the only difference, is that each contract term is 2 years as opposed to 1 year. So as opposed to the prior approval, which was 3 years, now it's 6.
Okay. Chris, are you on the line with us?
Yes, so the uniforms are every year for our guys, but it's every other year. But the off year is for new employees, so they can get uniforms when it's not a uniform year. So that's the only correction.
Okay. Well, seems like a better contract than before, because now we get 2 years out of the same money. Any questions, comments, Mr.
Yeah.
Livingston?
Yeah, thank you. Just a quick question. So is this a fixed fee or is it based upon the number of uniforms we purchase?
It's a fixed fee that's capped, but it's based on the number of uniforms. So we might not spend the whole thing.
Wait, so say that again. So it's a fee per fixed fee per uniform, and
So the $17,000, Councilman Livingston, is the cap, but we might not buy $17,000 worth of uniforms in a 2-year period.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. All right, thank you.
Do we all get fancy City of Norwalk shirts?
Yes.
Nice.
A little slow on that one.
You have to look back at the contract, make sure we have enough money.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Seems unanimous. All right, moving on to item number 4. Another technical correction of the Common Council, action September 8th, 2020, item number 7A6, to add accounts designated for Amen Kirby LLC for on-call surveying services, account numbers noted. Who would like to speak on that? Well, first, who would like to move that? All right, now everybody raise their hands. Thank you, Mr. Keegan.
So, Mr. Chairman, before I turn it over to Vanessa, again, this is a technical correction. This was in a previously approved contract by the Common Council for our on-call surveying services to support engineering staff. The 2 accounts noted are both 09 accounts, which are capital accounts. The 21 and the 22 are fiscal years 21 and 22 respectively. And also, just to go further into that 6030, that indicates a recreation and parks capital account. So if you would have seen a 40, that's public works, but that's 60, so that's recreation and parks. And Vanessa, I know you have additional information as to why we added those specific codes and to what facilities they're going to be applied to.
Yeah, that's correct. So we're just adding that so we can do some survey at Caf Pasture Beach. We're gonna mill that parking lot and we need some survey done. And also we're gonna add some green infrastructure there. So as part of that project that money is already on the capital request for 21 and 22. So we just need a survey to be able for our on-call consultant to continue the project. So those are 2 accounts for Recs and Parks.
So those are Recs and Parks accounts that,
Yes, specifically for Caf Pasture Beach.
okay. Any questions? All right, seeing none, all in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. All right, so obviously everybody had a busy weekend and a busy day because Tuesday is actually a Monday for a lot of people. So we're going to skip a lot of the discussion items. There hasn't been any very dramatic changes over the past month, as everybody knows. I will just say for item number B under the discussion items for the tree operations and programming, we had our first meeting to set up our, right. Sorry, Anthony,
Yeah, tree summit. Mr. Chair.
Yeah, for our tree summit. And I felt like we had a great meeting. A lot of great information came out, a lot of things that I just learned from the meeting. And all these committees that we have of people that are volunteering their time and the effort they put in, and how many resources we have in Norwalk that we get to utilize are finally starting to come to light. I don't know if Anthony, you want to add a little bit about the tree summit? I know Mr. Livingston was there. He might want to add a little bit about that meeting before it.
Sure, Mr. Chair, I'll say just briefly, I'd like to thank Councilmember Shanahan and Livingston and yourself and Councilwoman Darlene Young too for attending. I know, it was a little more than 2 hours on a Friday. Everyone, can get a antsy, but I think that it was well worth it. It was a tree summit planning meeting. So this is basically the meeting before the actual meeting. There will be a tree summit scheduled for some time in the fall. And basically what a tree summit is just a collaboration of different city staff, elected officials, stakeholders, if you will, and everybody exchanges ideas and figures, okay, well, where are we at with the system and how we make the system better? Whether it's input on tree planting plans or stopping Eversource from doing certain things written into our permits. So it's just an overall look at what we do now and where we want to go. And I think that from the tree summit planning meeting, and I can tell you, I learned a lot from what Vanessa, Chris, and Paul do, is that there are a lot of these mechanisms in place for the volunteer guidebook. That there's been similar tree summits held before in the past. And there really are a lot of these mechanisms in place that truthfully I wasn't even aware of until maybe several months ago. So kudos to them for having those installed. Most municipalities don't have that. And it's at least not as robust as if they do as ours. Of course, anything could be improved. We know that. And that's what we're working towards. So that was the point of the planning meeting, just to kind of start dialogue. Okay, what are the big ideas? What's the easy wins and the low hanging fruit? What can we invest now? And what will take a little bit more long-term planning and commitment. So I think we started identifying both of those, the easy low-hanging fruit and the long-term. And now we'll defer to any other stakeholders that wish to speak. But we know what our homework is for now, and we look forward to the next actual tree summit. In between, there'll be more dialogue between Norwalk Tree Alliance, the Tree Advisory Committee, internal city departments, council members, mayor's office, etc. So we're looking forward to it. We're excited. And I think personally that won a fantastic track.
Mr. Livingston.
Thank you. I just want to, thank Councilperson Shanahan, is not here obviously, but also Mr. Carr, Mr. Torrey, and the others in DPW for making this happen. I think from my perspective, I also learned a lot. I mean, you realize how many different people and different organizations are involved in this throughout the city. And it was really the first time I've seen everybody get together and talk about these things in a coordinated, organized manner. And I think it was really impressive. And I too learned a lot. And I look forward to having, a more public version of this with get input from other people in the city. But it was really worthwhile. And I thank everybody for doing it.
Agreed. Anthony, thank you. Thank your staff. Vanessa, thank you. Paul, all the hard work you guys do, and it's behind the scenes. Honestly, I didn't know about it until I sat there and saw how many resources you have, or how much work you've done with even the programs we use and the software we use. So, all right. If there's nothing else that anyone would like to discuss tonight, it's probably the only fast public works meeting we'll ever have. So.
All right. I move to adjourn.
Adjourn. Thank you, Mr. Livingston. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming out tonight.
Good night.
Thank you. Good
Everyone.
night.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Have a
Nice
good night.
job, Chair.
Yeah.
Night.
Good night.
Take care.